It's U of L Today on 93.9 The Ville. Here's your host, Mark Hebert.
And welcome to UofL Today with Mark Hebert on 93.9 The Ville. This is the show about all the great stuff going on at the University of Louisville. So what's on the show today? Louisville Metro government is working on a comprehensive future plan for the Smoketown neighborhood just south of East Broadway. And guess who did the preliminary work interviewing Smoketown residents and making recommendations to the city? Yep, it was a group of U of L students in the urban planning program, and we will be talking to them a little bit later. But first, she's the new dean of the U of L School of Nursing, coming to Louisville from East Carolina University. Her name is Sonya Hardin, and we welcome her to the University of Louisville. Welcome, Sonya. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Where is East Carolina University? I know it's in North Carolina, but what town is it in?
Yes, it's in North Carolina, and it's Greenville, North Carolina. But there's also Greenville, South Carolina,
which is near Clemson, right?
Yes, and one time I actually ordered a mattress, and it got sent to Greenville, South Carolina. And lots of times we would have people planning to come in to consult, and they would book their ticket for Greenville, South Carolina, because I think it's a little bit maybe more known than Greenville, North Carolina.
Yeah, maybe.
But we're in the eastern part of North Carolina.
Okay, and you're the Pirates. You were the Pirates.
Yes.
Now you're the Cardinals.
Yes.
Okay, you gotten used to that yet?
I love
You're
it.
wearing a red sweater, so
Yes.
I think you've gotten used to it.
Yes, I love the Cardinal. I love the red bird.
All
Yes.
right. Very good. All right, well, let's get a little bit about your background. How'd you get into nursing, and how did you get to Louisville?
Well, there's a long history of nursing in my family. My great-grandmother was a healer and in the Appalachian Mountains, and so a lot of people would come to her.
Like a faith healer?
Yes.
Okay.
And then my mother was a nurse. She was a registered nurse. And then I became a nurse, and my daughter is also a nurse. So I would say there's a long line of us. A long tradition. But yes, I think growing up and just seeing people get better under my grandmother, and then hearing the stories of my mother and how much she enjoyed nursing, it was the right choice for me.
And at East Carolina, what were you at East Carolina, and then how'd you get to UofL?
Yes, East Carolina University. I was there doing quite a bit of research and work around older adults and geriatrics. That's my passion. I really love taking care of older adults and trying to figure out ways to make life better for them. And while I was there, I was associate dean of all the graduate programs, and also doing quite a bit of research related to fishers, farmers, and loggers. So we had those three commodities, and I was focused on the older population that was working in those fields, trying to do health screenings and identify areas where we could help their health.
Okay, so the job opens up at UofL. Marcia Hearn decides to retire, and the job opens up. You apply for the job, and you get the job at the University of Louisville. Why'd you apply, and why'd you want to come here?
Well, I think it was a great opportunity, and I'll have to say I had a chance to talk to Neely right before I signed the papers, okay? And I was just so excited to know that we had someone who would be leading the university who had had quite a bit of experience working with nursing. I was very impressed by that. A lot of times you don't find presidents who have worked with schools of nursing or colleges of nursing, and she comes with that experience.
Okay, we're talking again with Sonya Hardin, who's the new dean of the U of L School of Nursing. You've been here, 2 months? Is that right?
I started August 13th.
August, what's that, 3 months, 4 months? Whatever that is.
About
However many
4.
months that is, I can't do the subtraction there from 11 months down to 8, I guess. All right, well, let's talk about some of the challenges facing the School of Nursing and the nursing profession in general. We hear all the time that there's a shortage of nurses. Is there really a shortage of nurses?
Oh, yes, there's a shortage of nursing. There's a shortage of nurses as far as the registered nurse, and also a shortage of advanced practice nurses. Now, those are the nurse practitioners that many people see when they go to their provider in a clinic. We're short in both areas. The RNs, we are definitely short of across the country. I think we're going to be, hundreds of thousands short. We've got a
just because of the aging population?
Baby boomers, like myself.
And me.
And you, will be retiring at some point, and we don't have the numbers to fill all of us that will be retiring out in the future. So I think that's going to put a huge burden, really, on healthcare. And then for advanced practice nurses, we at UofL have a program in neonatal nurse practitioners. They work on the inpatient side of the hospital, and those jobs are just booming across the country. A lot of individuals in those fields make about $130,000, $150,000 a year, and so those who love working with neonates, that's perfect for them. We have an acute care nurse practitioner program that's also on the inpatient side, and then we have psych nurse practitioner, adult gero, and also family.
So we got a full-service School of Nursing at the University of Louisville is what you found, I take it, right?
Absolutely.
What else have you found? You show up in Louisville, you go to the School of Nursing. What have you found at the School of Nursing at UofL that's perhaps different from what you had at East Carolina, or you might find someplace else? What are the strengths, maybe some of the weaknesses that we have here?
Well, I think I don't want any student who qualifies to come into nursing to be denied to come into nursing. That's the way I feel about it, because if you truly have a passion to be a nurse, we ought to find a way to help you be a nurse. So my first thought coming in was, is there a way we can increase enrollment? And just this week, the Kentucky Board of Nursing approved us to increase our enrollment at our Owensboro Extension site. Now, our Owensboro Extension site is supported by Owensboro Health, and we wouldn't be able to have that extension without them. So we were approved for 33 students a year, and now we're approved for 70.
Okay, so more than doubled.
More than doubled.
Well, how many students are enrolled in the School of Nursing in Louisville?
Okay, for undergraduate, we enroll 100 each semester.
So you got, what, 400? Is it a 4-year program?
It's a 4-year program, yes.
So you've got about 400 folks.
Or at least more. They'll come in as freshmen with the goal to be a nurse, and we may have, maybe 300 or 400 students that want to be a nurse that come in. We also have another program, which is a master's program, entry into practice, where if you already have a degree, so I'm telling you this so you can come into nursing. If you already have a degree, you can come into nursing and spend 2 years with us and graduate and be a registered nurse and also have a master's degree. Now, that program has just really taken off, and Diane Shabowie is the director of that program, and we have in the process right now petitioning the Kentucky Board of Nursing to allow us to double that enrollment as well.
And so if you're a person out there who's thinking about a second career, that's what you're really talking about, is a person that's older like we are that decides, you know what, I've always wanted to be a nurse. How can I go back to school and do that? And UofL has a program for that.
Yes, we do.
And do you normally, the folks, again, you've only been here for 4 months, so you may not know the answer to this, but do you generally get folks who are who have been to college and maybe started down a nursing path and got 30 hours in and then went someplace else, got a job, got married, had kids, whatever, and then they come back to finish a nursing degree? Or are they generally people who are doing the second career thing?
Most of them are the second career, and we have had lawyer, pharmacist, school teachers, bankers, broad spectrum of individuals who decide that they really want to serve others in a different way. And they come back, and in 2 years they become a registered nurse, and they walk away with a master's degree, which places them in a great opportunity to take on leadership roles.
How many guys are nurses these days? Are they showing up at School of Nursing?
Yes, they are. And in this country, it's about 12%. When I was over in Holland, we had 25 to 30%.
Really?
Yes. And I think men are slowly realizing that this is a great opportunity for them. Who would not want to work 3 12-hour shifts and have the rest of the week off? And that's what you're able to do when you work on the inpatient side in a hospital setting.
And if I get an RN degree from the University of Louisville and I go to work at one of the hospitals in Louisville, or for primary care physician, whatever, how much am I making? What's the starting salary? What am I getting out and making?
Well, it varies depending upon if you're in the hospital, what shift you're working, and if you're working weekends. Typically somewhere around $45,000 to $50,000 a year.
Starting salary. That's pretty good to just get right out of college.
Yes, it is.
So that's not too bad.
Yes, I spoke to a girl just this week, and she had gotten a Baylor position just working weekends, and that was going to give her an extra $9 an hour. So it just depends on the position you take, but yes, it's a very good living.
So if you're willing to work nights, you're willing to work some long shifts, the pay is greater, right? I assume.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And probably if you're just getting started, those are the shifts you're probably going to get, right?
Well, I don't know.
Or
This
do- or
young
do a lot
lady, this young lady I talked to was so excited because she got a day shift job, and it was a weekend position, and she was going to be making very good money. She was a mother of 3 children, single parent, and it was just going to be perfect for her.
Scholarship opportunities. Every field is always looking for diversity. They're looking to get more people, minorities, and folks like that into nursing, engineering. Everybody's looking for that. So what does the School of Nursing at UofL have that they can offer minority students and students in general that can foot the bill and pay the cost of the tuition?
Yes, we are always looking for scholarships, and we have quite a few scholarships that individuals have in their name. They've been very generous to us, and we're able to, for example, the Harruff Scholarship. We've been able to give quite a few students $9,000 a year to help them out. And there are even some individuals that are willing to cover the entire 2 years for the upper division of a student. And I can't even begin to say how much that helps someone who is trying to go to school full time. And many of our students are trying to work and keep themselves into an apartment or a house.
Right.
And a lot of them have children, so it really makes a big difference. I'd love to see more scholarships that were targeted toward different minority groups, to men.
So if you're a big donor out there and you want to give some money to help some men and minority students get into nursing, call up Sonya Hardin. She'll be more than happy to take your money, right?
That's right.
All right, last question, and then we'll roll on here. Online programs. How many online classes are there in the School of Nursing or programs that a person can take and get a degree, or does every degree in nursing require some hands-on practicum experience?
Our RN to BSN program is 100% online, and these are individuals that have an associate degree in nursing that want to come back and get a baccalaureate degree. Now, that program is totally online. Then we have other programs that I call hybrid, which means part of the courses are online, and then part of the time you do come on campus. Our nurse practitioner programs that we have come on campus just 5 times a semester, and the rest of the time it's online. And during the times that they're on campus, we are checking them off on a variety of skills.
Okay, very good. Well, Sonya Hardin, welcome to Louisville. Hope you're enjoying the city.
I'm loving it.
Very good. Louisville Metro Government is getting ready to launch a plan to plot the future of the Smoketown neighborhood just east of downtown Louisville. But much of the preliminary work on the project is already done by Kelly Kinahan's Master of Urban Planning students. Kelly's an assistant professor of urban and public affairs, and 2 of the students who worked on the Smoketown project are Kendra Whitaker and Hannah Crepps, and they're all here in the studio with me to talk about the Smoketown project. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks so much for having us.
Good to see you all.
Hi, yes, thank you. And it's okay.
What? Say it.
Well, it's actually Hannah, not Hannah.
Oh, my fault.
That's okay.
It spelled like Hannah.
It is exactly.
Is it like the
spelled
road to
Hannah.
Hana in Hawaii? Is that what you
yes,
named
it
it?
rhymes with piranha. All sorts of little tricks I have to do to tell people.
So you have to tell everybody, right?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Your name is
I have
Hana,
to-
not
yes,
Hannah, right?
yes.
Well, I
Story of my
apologize for
life.
mispronouncing
No, that's
your
okay.
name.
It's all
Hana.
right.
So it's Hannah Crepps.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. All right, Kelly Kinahan, let's talk a little bit about your class and what these students work on as they get towards the end of it.
Great, yeah. So the Neighborhood Planning Studio course is an elective class in our Masters of Urban Planning program, and it's one of our studio courses, as it says in the title, and it really gives students an opportunity to have some hands-on experiential learning experiences. And so what we do is work with a neighborhood over the course of 16 weeks to sort of co-create and collaborate with them on helping them to start the neighborhood planning process, which is what we did in Smoketown. So we worked specifically with the Smoketown Neighborhood Association along with some other core organizations in Smoketown like Youth Build and Ideas X Lab, and really help them get started with this neighborhood planning process, working with Randy Weber, the president of the Smoketown Neighborhood Association.
And you do this every semester with your classes, right?
We do, yes, yeah. So this is
Not in Smoketown, but
not
with
in
different
Smoketown,
projects,
right? In different neighborhoods. So in past neighborhood planning studio classes have classes that I've taught. I've worked on a similar projects in the Clifton neighborhood, so working with the Clifton Community Council.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Hannah Crepps,
Yes, sir.
let's talk about this project. So you decided to take on this I guess it's called the Smoketown Neighborhood Project, right? What is it? Tell me what it was.
We had to be very clear from the beginning that it was a draft, given that we are students, and also that we only had the 16 weeks. So just as Professor Kinahan said, it's intended, our work was intended as a foundation, which it is currently standing as very much. And so we started out in the fall of 2017, I guess. And we kind of simultaneously worked on background research, looking at former plans that had been done. There was a quality of life plan that had been done in Smoketown a few years prior, a couple of other plans. So we wanted to look at the work that had already been done and what could we build on. We also dug into census data to kind of get a sense for the demographic layout of the neighborhood, to try to understand kind of the makeup and everything. But then at the same time, we were also canvassing the neighborhood. That was kind of something that I took in the team. I took a little bit of a lead on as far as the engagement, getting the word out, trying to get as many people as possible to our community meetings. So we organized and hosted community meetings.
All right, Kendra, I've got a question for you, Kendra Whitaker. I guess we ought to back up just a tad. Smoketown neighborhood is located where? For folks who have no idea where Smoketown is, where is it?
Well, it's south of Broadway and in between, I think it's Floyd and Logan Street. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So it's really close to, downtown businesses. It's adjacent to Shelby Park. Like Hannah said, there was the QLAP plan for Smoketown that not only focused on them, but also focused on Shelby Park. So there's a lot of impact there between those two.
And the goal of this was what? I mean, this is a final project. It's to get you some experience in urban planning and those kinds of things. But that was the goal for you. But what was the goal for the neighborhood? What did you want to see come out of this?
It was to kickstart a plan. Because of what had happened with like Shepherd Square and all this rebuilding in the neighborhood, the draft neighborhood plan is kind of a start to bring old and new residents back together, and to also help them reform those goals that they have.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just add, I think, to that, but I think that kind of early stage of a planning process is really key for relationship building and connecting different groups and organizations that are doing work in a neighborhood and trying to figure out how best they can collaborate and move forward into,
Kelly?
And yeah, I'll just add that the Smoketown Neighborhood Association wanted a neighborhood plan that they could then potentially take and would be adopted by Metro Council. So the planning agencies within Louisville Metro have sort of a formalized process for neighborhood planning, and that was what the neighborhood association really came to me and said that they wanted to get out of that. And so what the students' work did, as they've described, was really lay the foundation for that, and now Metro and advanced planning are building on that.
Okay, again, we're talking with Hannah Crepps, Kendra Whitaker, who are two students at the University of Louisville, and Kelly Kinahan, who teaches a Master of Urban Planning course is at the University of Louisville. Are both of you urban planning majors?
Recent graduate.
Recent graduates?
Yeah.
When did you graduate?
This is our last semester.
Oh, this is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This
Well,
is it.
congratulations on graduating from UofL.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's a big deal to get a degree.
Yeah.
So when we talk about this plan that you worked on, did you go out and interview students? Did you interview kids? Did you interview adults? Did you walk up and down the streets and knock on doors and say, hey, what do you want to see in your in your neighborhood? Do you want the streets repaved? Do you want more trees? Do you want these streets closed off? Tell me what you did.
That was, yeah, so part of it in the fall, so we actually ended up continuing working at Smoketown in the spring, and we did our capstone project, which is like the culminating piece of the program. So in the fall, we, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we hosted 3 public meetings, and at those public meetings, we sort of created, kind of came up with different visioning exercises that we could do with residents who came, to kind of help them sort of generate and brainstorm their sense of their priorities and their kind of vision and what they saw, what they kind of expected to see in their neighborhood in the coming years. And then in the spring, so at those meetings, we ended up getting a lot of older residents, and we saw an opportunity in the spring to work with youth and to try to focus our energies of getting those voices heard. And so we ended up working with Chris Rashid, who was a 6th grade teacher at Mazik Middle School, which is in the Smoketown neighborhood, and we spent several days in his classroom working with them.
And you talked to the kids about what they wanted to see in their neighborhood? Was that the deal?
We did. We worked on kind of just talking to them first and foremost about urban planning and what that is, and then also kind of moved forward and talked about green space and kind of the importance of green space in neighborhoods and having those kind of open shared public spaces, and then kind of built up to visioning and like dreaming about what green spaces could look like in Smoketown.
I'll add that in the first half of our experience, like with the neighborhood plan, we held a lot of community meetings, as she mentioned, but in that second half where we focused on youth, we decided to change that approach with a workshop. And like Hannah said, a lot of it was teaching them about urban planning so that they had some kind of outcome from our engagement with them, so that they knew how to be designers and so forth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Kendra, what surprised you? And you're going around talking to all these folks that live in this the Smoketown area. They've done a revitalization basically down there. They tore down the old Shepherd Square housing project a few years ago, built all brand new housing down there. So what did you find? Were people hopeful? Did they have great ideas on what their neighborhood ought to look like in 10 years? Or was there anything that surprised you?
I don't think all of it was a surprise for me. It was a huge learning experience. This was the first time I had done community engagement work. But I think we found that, you have to listen to the residents. As much as you think you have great ideas, they've already all got it planned out. They know exactly what they want to see. So I think, our role we found was trying to facilitate and bring everything together for a collective vision. But to our surprise, they know what they want. They have everything figured out that they want to see in their neighborhood.
What do they want? What they say? What they tell you? More playgrounds, more green space? I don't know. Street closures? I don't know. You tell me.
I think definitely the open. They wanted I think the neighborhoods. There's an opportunity for, as we were talking earlier, the newer residents, in the new Shepherd Square development. Together with the old, the longtime residents who've lived, more on Logan Street or Kentucky Street, where there's housing stock that's been there for a while. There needs to be more opportunities for those two groups to intersect and meet. That was one thing. I think, again, the green spaces, when we worked in the fall and we were having these public meetings, we realized that there's a significant amount of green space in that neighborhood. So there's open, flexible space. There's actually a park. There's a Metro Park, Ballard Park, and then there's a space, there's 2 spaces, one directly north of Mazik Middle School, and then a smaller pocket park directly east. And then there's the whole Logan Street basin, which goes across on top of the MSD drainage basin. And so all of that is just a real kind of asset in the neighborhood. And so I think there's a very loud kind of and strong expressed desire to see something happen to those spaces.
That was Hannah Crepps, and we're also talking with Kendra Whitaker. They're both students or graduates, soon to be, of the University of Louisville, and Kelly Kinahan, who teaches at the University of Louisville, is a professor over in urban planning. Kelly, what do you hope that these students got out of this experience? What did you want them to figure out?
Yeah, so this class, or our studio classes are intended to, again, sort of really give students an opportunity to start and at least come as close to possible as finishing sort of a planning process. So to really see that through from start to end, and to be able to actually do it themselves, right? So to be the ones that are leading the community engagement process, to be the ones that are collecting the data and analyzing the data and connecting those two pieces together to say, sort of this is what we see from census data, this is the information we hear from residents. How do we bring all of this together, and then how do we think about how we put that into a document that is understandable and sort of connects back to the data that we've collected and the information that we've heard from residents. So really allowing them to have that experience, again, being able to talk to residents, to listen to them, to recognize that they are the experts in their neighborhood, and that while we as planners bring important skills to the table, that we need to be able to recognize that residents and neighborhood members are the real on the ground experts in their neighborhoods.
And Kendra and Hannah, now the city of Louisville apparently is grabbed your initial report. What'd you call it? A draft report? I think it's what you said.
It's a draft neighborhood plan. It's draft. A document to inform the neighborhood plan. That's right.
Whatever. It's a draft.
No.
For the rest of us, it's a draft.
Right.
But the city of Louisville has taken a look at it and said this is going to form the foundation or
That's
something.
correct.
They're going to use it somehow. So how is Metro Louisville and the mayor going to use this?
So it's in the language as far as like our sort of background and history and sort of demographic layout is in the RFP, the request for proposal that the city sent out, and so I think as a intended for this is the groundwork. So any incoming proposals build off of this, right? So this is the neighborhood that you're working with.
That's pretty exciting, isn't it,
Yeah.
Kendra?
It is, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think the best part is that it happens so quickly, and we hope that keeps the momentum alive in this process. That was the exciting part, how quick of a turnaround they had.
Yeah,
So you should go back to Metro Government and say, you don't have to hire some of these big muckety-muck firms to pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars. You would just hire us right out of college. We can handle this for you.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. We love that.
We can come up with a great plan for the Smoketown neighborhood. We've already done half the work for you. Come
I
on.
would love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So what do you two plan to do now? You're graduates.
Yes.
You're going to go to grad school? You're going to, what are you going to do?
Well, so I actually currently work at Center for Neighborhoods, which is a nonprofit downtown that works across the city of Louisville. I'm a planning and programs associate there.
Okay.
So I'll just keep on plugging
So
away
you
at
got a
that.
job.
I have a job, and I love it. I would not want to work anywhere else.
Okay. Kendra?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Well, right now I work with Habitat for Humanity. I work with their community development and help manage their designs and their floor plans and stuff like that.
All right. And Kelly, for not just for these two students, but the others that go through your program and have these projects that they go into particular neighborhoods and get a lot of hands-on experience. Are there jobs out there in urban planning? Are they looking for
There
22-year-olds
are. Look,
to come?
they're already employed. So these guys are finishing up a master's degree. So this is, they have sort of that undergraduate and that graduate experience here. But there are jobs in urban planning. There's sort of opportunities in the public sector. So things like working for Metro Government in the Office of Advanced Planning or in Planning and Design Services. There's also opportunities in the nonprofit sector, which Hannah and Kendra have given great examples of. So places like the Center for Neighborhoods or Habitat for Humanity or other nonprofits that work in housing and community development. And there's also opportunities in the private sector. So firms that do, comprehensive plans or neighborhood plans, planning, design, and engineering firms. But our students have a really strong track record of getting hired and getting jobs when they're done, and a lot of them are even working part-time while they're in our program, and we do have that flexibility within the Masters of Urban Planning program to sort of work with students and help them to make those networking connections while they're in our program, so that they're ready to land a job.
Thanks for listening to UofL Today with Mark Hebert, and go Cards.